this is a hawk. The South African government has denied internationally that there is no farm murders happening in South Africa. There is no land grabs going on in South Africa. These are absolute lies. Just this weekend, a musician was killed. But to make matters even worse, on another farm, a pregnant woman was brutalized and murdered in front of her children. And still the South African government says there's nothing going on. Massive crowds going into farms to take over the land. People came there to fight back. In the end, there's going to be a civil war in South Africa. An uncalled for civil war. The South African government, the ANC government, owns 75% of the land that is not in use in South Africa. And yet, they're going after the food source of this country because the people are white. It is a racist excuse to stay in power. The African National Congress consists of the Communist Party and the trade unions. They are a bunch of corrupt thieves and terrorists. Please assist me in bringing sanctions against these human rights violators. We, as United States citizens, cannot afford to re-up on the AGOA agreement, which violates land reform. It states that you cannot take somebody's land. Therefore, this agreement should not be re-signed. Also, I'm calling for the recall of Elena Marx, who is the South African, the ambassador in South Africa for the United States. She is an ex-South African born United States citizen. And she is praising this government for its human rights violations. She will not condemn it. Also, I'm calling on all Christian ministers in South Africa. I'm calling you out as cowards. None of you will stand up to this insane criminal government. None of you will stand up to the fact that your women are being raped one a minute. None of you will stand up to the fact that these farmers are being murdered one a day now. Trillions and trillions of dollars being ripped off, stolen by the same government. And the United States is giving them aid. We have to stop this. Please sign my petition for full-blown economic sanctions and a complete blockade of this country, that it cannot get any more aid. We need to remove this ANC government by any means. They have placed further discriminative laws against the minorities in South Africa because they're white. When will the world learn this is the 21st century and no more of this nonsense needs to be done? This is pure racism. The white people of South Africa have been living there since 1652. They have a right to live there. The fact is, they were born there. Therefore, they are Africans and not colors. This government needs to be removed. This socialist, criminal, communist government, racist, human rights violating terrorist organization needs to be removed completely, utterly. No more. Cyril Ramaphosa, you are being warned. Your government and these other organizations that are political parties like the EFF and the PLF will be held accountable in the end for human rights violations. Every single politician that has advocated this will be held accountable. All the corruption will come out and you will be held accountable. And Mr. Ramaphosa, we all understand why you won't do anything, because you're the biggest criminal of all. We also know that you orchestrated the document from 1993 for burning of the frog, which means burning of white people. You are the guilty party. I am saying to everybody in South Africa, it is time to rise up and remove this government by any means possible. We will do to you now what you did to the nationalist government, because you have placed apartheid back in place. We will bring sanctions against you, and if it gets to a violent conflict, that is your fault, nobody else's. We are tired of you, and I am not talking only about white people. I'm talking about black people. You have failed them in 26 years. You have failed the entire country. To the United States citizens, it is time to help me. Please sign this petition so we can stop all foreign aid to South Africa, put total embargo on them, sanctions, and remove this evil government once and for all. Just think, a pregnant lady today on a farm was brutally murdered in front of her children, and her unborn child was murdered as well. And not one of that government said a thing. They called it a home invasion. It's not a home invasion when they're torturing these people for hours. They torture them, rape them, and murder them for hours. This is not a simple crime. This is terrorism, human rights violations, and the government wants these farms. The land reform laws that they're trying to pass right now are basically about these farms, and they can't get the farmers off the land legally, so they're trying to kill them off the land. This needs to stop, and it needs to stop today. Please help me sign this petition, and let's get this done. We have to stop this, and we have to stop it now, by any means possible. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and sign the petition, please. This has to stop. And if anybody's got any connections to President Trump, please, Mr. President, do something, say something. Get rid of Lena Marks. She is useless to our cause. She is useless and an embarrassment to the United States of America. This is the Hawk. I am really pissed off. I'm out of here.